Make sure it's recording. All right, and we are good to go. So I'll just start by saying hello, welcome. This is a webinar that's brought to you by the International Society for Quality of Life Studies. My name is Jill Johnson. I'm the Executive Director for ISQOLS, and we are pleased today to have our presenter, Marco Lombardi. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Perfectly.
From ISQOL in Belgium, and from HOGENT. Is it HOGENT? Is that
HOGENT.
HOGENT,
Very
okay.
good pronunciation.
I learned that when I visited this just about a month or two ago. So we're very pleased to have Marco here to speak to us about his involvement with the summer program that he leads to Uganda. And just want to remind everyone that we do have our conference in Rotterdam coming up August 25th through the 28th. We've actually extended our abstract deadline to February 15th. So you still do have a couple of weeks, depending on when you're watching this, to submit your abstract for either your paper, your presentation, or symposium. You can look online at isqols.org and just select conferences, right, for the call of abstract to submit that there. Registration is open right now, and it goes all the way. We encourage you to register before May 15th to take advantage of our early bird discount. And we also have wonderful discounts for ISQOLS members, so remember to join us for that wonderful conference discount. So without further ado, I will give the presentation over to Marco and take it away.
Okay, thank you very much, Jill, for the introduction. Hi, everybody. I'm Marco Lombardi. I'm a psychologist, and I'm a researcher at ISQOL. ISQOL is a center of expertise on quality of life at University of Applied Sciences and Arts of Ghent, HOGENT. And in ISQOL, the overall mission of ISQOL is to investigate quality of life and quality of life for people in vulnerable situations. And this is the mission of our center. We work in a very interdisciplinary way. So especially we work with different kind of professionals like educators, social workers, nurses, psychologists, especially in the health-related sector. And we work together to implement the quality of life of persons in vulnerable situations. Especially the center is based on some core values, and one of those core values is human rights. So the Center of Expertise on Quality of Life is inspired by human rights and its implementation. So in which way we can implement human rights into the evidence, into the practice by using evidence-based strategies and also by promoting research. So especially we are working with people who are socially vulnerable, and of course those people they are running the risk to be socially excluded, or of course those people whom rights are violated systematically, especially by care policy and structures or by the society. So those are the clients we refer and the participants we try to involve in our research. And of course, as we mentioned before, we try to do this by involving different practitioners, different academics, and different clients. And we do that in interdisciplinary way across sectors to find the best way to support persons in vulnerable situations. So some of the principles of ISQOL are the specific, starting from the perspective of the client, as you may see. And the other aspect is having an appreciative inquiry, in the sense that our assessments are based on resources and not only on deficits. So when we are working, we are promoting also specific intervention on when we are working towards finding specific strategies that may be relevant also in Africa, as we're going to see. We always work with using this appreciative inquiry, where we are mapping what's is needed in the context, using a contextual analysis, especially basing on what is missing and which are different kind of resources that are present. And of course, a very important aspect, we strive for self-determination and at the same time for connectedness. So the research and also the practice and the teaching, as we are going to see, it's made in a connected way to promote social development, to promote community development, to promote inclusion and participation for persons in vulnerable situation, but at the same time also for the students, and also in which way researchers, academics may really promote and increase those kind of outcomes. So in which way we can create a community where all the different participants, all the different people who are members of the community may have an active participation. So as ISQOL, as Center of Expertise on Quality of Life, we do practice-oriented research, starting from the client current quality of view, quality of life, and the specific support needs of the client. And this is something that is really important because it's the same perspective that we try to bring in the summer school. So when we developed the summer school, we thought, okay, in which way we can improve the quality of life of person living in Uganda, in Fort Portal, in this specific context, by the best support we could provide. And which are the instruments may we able to use. And of course, we want to do that also by broadening the possibilities to have a great connection, an international connection, as we have with ISQOL and with IASSIDD, that is sponsoring some parts of the summer school in Uganda. And of course, also having a great network, this also implies that we try to involve different participants from different countries. So as you're going to see, we have a specific core of participants in our summer school that are coming from Belgium, that are our students and lecturers from HOGENT. But also we involve other international partners. We have students from Finland, from Germany, from Italy, from England in the previous editions. So some of our core research teams that are present in ISQOL, in the Expertise Center of Quality of Life, are quality of life, human rights, value-based policy, community-based support, and community-based development, co-creation with the final user, with the client, with the person in vulnerable situation, having and including the perspective and knowledge by persons with experience, as maybe a client, as maybe a person who have a specific vulnerable situation. We use and want to start with his own perception of what is meaningful in his or her life, what is meaningful, what defines his or her own quality of life. And we try to do that by working in interdisciplinary way. So in which way we can bring together different professionals and working together in a team. So in which way we can have different kind of perspective, and in which way those specific perspectives are leading us towards quality of life outcomes. Those are some of the central research teams at ISQOL, but also are the values and our specific goals of the summer school, as we're going to see. And of course, we'd like to dream, and by dreaming and by thinking in which way we can try to implement and we can try to get closer to those specific values, we thought, okay, why don't we develop a summer school in Africa? We got experience on having a summer school in Ghent. We organized a summer school for 3 years in Ghent, and then we had the possibility, and after those 3 years, we said, okay, it has been a very good experience for our clients. We invited already some students and lecturers from Uganda, from the specific Montes of the Moon University in Uganda. In which way can we replicate the same experience in Africa? Because we thought that those would have been much more meaningful if we were able to work directly on the field in Africa. So from this crazy idea, from a group of lecturers, we applied for funds and we set up the first year the summer school in Uganda, collaboration with Montes of the Moon University. So just to give a little bit of context, as you may see, Uganda, it's called the Pearl of Africa. It's exactly on the equator, and it's famous because of the Lake Victoria. And as you may see, this is the place where we are flying in, usually in August. And this is a bit of an overview of how it looks like in Fort Portal. So as you may see, there are big mountains. The Rwenzori Mountains are close into this area. It's very green. The weather, it's around 23 to 26, 25 degrees all year long. And it's very important town in the area. Fort Portal is a town in the western region of Uganda. And it's the seat of Kabarole district and Toro Kingdom. So there are different kingdoms in Uganda, and the king of the Toro kingdom is in Fort Portal. You may be able to see his palace, actually. Fort Portal is located 180 kilometers on the northwest of Mbara, that is the largest city in the western region, and it's more or less 300 kilometers from Kampala. So let's count 330 kilometers from the airplane that is in Entebbe. There are 54,000 people living in Fort Portal, and as you may see, Fort Portal is surrounded by very nice nature, and there's a lot of life in the local markets. And now I'm going to give you some insight about how life looks like every day in Fort Portal. Those are pictures taken on the road that leads to one of the campuses of the university. So as you may see, like a car to wash cars or a local butchery, different shops on the way. And this is one of the main roads downtown, close to the local market in Fort Portal. Those are some of the children of Fort Portal going to school that are always bringing joy by waving and greeting to the bus when we go to the campus. And again, we may have, I would like to give you some input about what is and how does it feel like to be in Uganda. So as you may see, population and a lot of people are living more of a rural economy. So every family has its own part of field where they grow vegetables and they have animals, usually chickens, goats or cows if you are rich. And as you may see, one of the most important food, what's the local bread, let's say, are the bananas in many different shapes and many different combinations are part of the diet, also of our diet when we get there. And now I would like a little bit to give you an overview of the summer school that we are conducting this year for the 4th time in Fort Portal. So as I said, we host students and teachers from all around the world. We have different collaboration, and the central core is exchanging experiences and knowledge. It happens more or less every year at the end of August, and the reason for this is that the semester is starting in Uganda, but also at the same time for students from Europe, it's still a time when it's examination time. So students are during their holiday, or it's just the first part of the examination time, and this allows more students and more participants to come and to participate to the summer school. The location is in Fort Portal, and the topic is quality of life through quality of care. So in which way could we improve the quality of life of persons living in vulnerable situations through providing good quality of care? There are two partners. One is Blair who's supporting the mobility, and the other partner is IASSIDD, who's sponsoring always the participation of two lecturers. IASSIDD is the Scientific Association of the Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities, and they also have a specific interest in quality of life. There's a special interest research group on quality of life. And so one of the themes in which way we can improve the quality of life of persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities, it's very much relevant in the context of Uganda. There are not too many possibilities in terms of support provisions for persons with disabilities and intellectual disabilities. So one of the scope of the IASSIDD Academy is to improve possibility in terms of education for persons from low income. Those are some of the pictures of the campus, of the road leading to the campus. As you may see, the campus leads to Montes of the Moon University. So we are approaching one of those mountains. There were old volcanoes, actually. And this is the street leading to the campus. Montes of the Moon University, as you may see, it's situated in the Rwenzori region in the western Uganda. It's a young university, only 11 years old. And what is very interesting about the university is that it was founded and owned by the community. So the community decided to found its own university to respond to the needs of the local community. So they set up specific programs in economy, management, agriculture, nursing, public health, education, to respond to the specific needs and aspiration of the communities. Nowadays, only last year, the university has been growing, has been doing very good, so it became a public university. So the public government decided to take the university and to make it part of its public offer. The different partners are School of Education, School of Health Sciences, Nursing and Midwifery, and School of Arts and Social Sciences. So usually we have different students, and those students are part of different courses. So more or less we have students from let's say all parts of the world, and we have more or less 20-25 students from Europe, and we have 20-25 students from the local university. As you may see, those are some of the pictures from the seminars and from the 2-week program that we run there. The main idea during those intensive 2 weeks is that different participants of the summer school are working together in interdisciplinary groups in different teams. So we have more or less different students from different disciplines, as I said, and those students are working together to develop a specific project. So the students are divided mostly from, as we said, social, we have orthopedagogics, that is named special needs education, nursing, and laboratory techniques, occupational therapy, education, and those students are working in team together with students from Montes of the Moon University, and each team has to work in intercultural and interdisciplinary way to tackle a specific content of the summer school. So as you may see, interdisciplinarity is one of the content, interculturality, the fact that there are different students, different participants from very different countries and very different backgrounds, and in which way those different perspectives may work together to improve the quality of life of the local population. So in which way we could develop the communities by means of participation, personal involvement, self-determination of the local communities, and we work with different target groups. So specifically over there, we decided together with the local communities and the local partners that important target group would have been children with HIV/AIDS. In the population, the relevance of HIV/AIDS is very important over there, because more or less we have 13 to 15% of children that have the prevalence of HIV/AIDS. The second aspect, the second target population is children and persons with intellectual developmental disabilities and elderly people. So in which way we can work to improve their quality of life through quality of care. The different groups are working using an applied research input. So they start from a concrete research question. In which way can we improve the quality of life? And we do that in an evidence-based perspective. So using evidence-based materials from articles that we bring together with us, from accessing database for journals, from the best of the quality of care practices, the HOGENT standards in terms of quality different quality. So, in relation to the program, as you may see, we have a 2 weeks program, and mostly we teach during the morning theoretical aspects together. So each session, it's a session run by an international lecturer together with a lecturer from Montes of the Moon University. And in the afternoon, we work together with our partners. So we do community visits, mostly every afternoon, to see which are the best organization in supporting persons in vulnerable situation in the local area. And those are the green part of the program, as you may see. And then the day after, in the morning, we come together, and the first part of every day, it's a reflective practitioner session, because there's a specific need to re-elaborate and to work together on what has emerged, what we faced when we were working together with the organization during the visit. So then we start to tackle which are specific cultural issues, which are specific needs of the population, which are interdisciplinary perspectives, and in which way we can combine those interdisciplinary and intercultural perspectives. The final scope of those 2 weeks is to come together and create a specific project for implementation of the research. So we start by understanding, by the visit, understanding which are the needs for our target population, and the specific teams have to work in a group to produce a sustainable project. And then the last day, during the final presentation, we present the different projects from the different teams to the organization and the lecturers. So this is the main idea, in which way we can provide and we can give back in terms of ideas and projects to also the local community. Some of the important outcome goals of the program are related to international skills, such as specific language skills. Of course, we have to speak English. Everybody is speaking a different language. Even in Uganda, they use English, but they have many local languages. We have to have a specific and develop a global engagement with a very international orientation, working in a very international group, but at the same time having a specific context and a specific view on the area. So how to build a global engagement having a local perspective. We have to establish a personal growth by cooperation, working independently, being confident in an area, in a context that is very different from the context where you are used to work, and also learning in terms of creativity from the partners, having future clear ideas about future, about possible developments for the area, and also, of course, to work together in interdisciplinary and international context. So keeping in perspective different perceptions that are culturally determined or that are specific of a profession, and in which way we could bring them together. Okay, I explained here. As you may see, there are some of the picture of what are our session. Here we have director of the faculty giving the welcoming to our students. First day, so we have this opening, and then we start to work together in groups. So as you may see, this is the first interdisciplinary, intercultural group with different students from different disciplines and countries coming together to develop and to start to reflect about a specific topic. So again, the central question is how to improve the quality of life through the quality of care, working in an interprofessional way. Here you may see some of our lecturers. We have Annemie Engelens and we have a lecturer from Montes of the Moon University. They are reflecting together on a specific topic of the day, what has been tackled that day. Here we have Jessica De Meyer from our team, the coordinator of ISQOLS, and we have Dana Roth from Betty C. Shapiro from Israel, who came to teach about quality of life. And then, as you may see, sometimes I'm a bit slow, waiting that the slide shift to the next one. Here you may see what does it mean, quality of life for those intercultural group of people. So here we ask to everybody what is quality of life, what does quality of life means for him or for her, and then we try to group, and we saw that even in a cross-cultural way, there are some indicators and there are some specific domains that they keep on appearing, and the specific indicators keep on clustering together. Okay. I see that there are some issues with the microphone, probably. Okay, I hope the connection is good. Okay. Okay, I hope the microphone works better. Otherwise, just give me a sign if it's not working properly. Sounds better. Perfect. Okay. So here, as you may see, we have some of our local partners. We work together with YAWI, Youth and Women Empowerment. It's a specific organization working together with youth with HIV and women, working on their empowerment. We work together with For Portal Hospital. Some of our lecturers had internship and had a lot of experience on working together with the hospital. Elderly Home for Sister, that's the only elderly home present in town. And the Chaninga Child Development Center, a specific center developed to support children with disabilities. The local radio station, that's one of the ways to disseminate knowledge from the university. So university has different programs to disseminate culture, disseminate relevant information. SOS Children Village, it's a village. It's that works as a foster home for Portal, one of the many, and Christ Aid, that is an organization supporting children and elderly in the community, in their houses. So they provide support in terms of providing food, providing accommodation to the people who are in the need of receiving specific support, but maybe they don't have, like there are many children who lost their parents and they're living with their grandparents because of HIV, AIDS. So they try to provide support where the people need in the community. Now, I will show you some pictures from our partners, from our local partners. Those are some pictures from the elderly house for sisters. And here, sisters who have worked in the field and who are not able anymore to work, they come together and they live there together in a support setting. And it's always joyful to have a visit with Sister Rose. And this is a picture from Janinga Development Center. This is one of our partners. So Fiona, she's found the center to support children with disabilities. There were no support for children with disabilities in the area. Now they have 3 different centers in 3 different locations supporting children with disabilities and their family. They have programs with psychologists, nurses, social workers, and they provide support to the families by providing trainings about microeconomy, microfinances, and they set up a specific business to give job perspective to persons with disabilities and their families. So they started a goat milk farm, actually, lately, and it's going very good, and it's good support for the clients. Those are some of the clients, and they really provide thousands of interventions per year in the broader area, in the broader district of lately. This is Yawi that supports persons with HIV and women with a different kind of workshop by having, for example, entertaining activities for tourists, by bringing tourists into the area and explaining the nature, how is the nature in the area. They have a bakery, they have services to tailor and sew suits, for example, or hairdressers. So they start different kind of activities, and they work together with the radio of Montes of the Moon University to share their best practices and to share evidence-based interventions, activities, and fresh knowledge to disseminate it within the local population. We work in different ways, and we work in different ways also to evaluate which are the different products that the different groups. So as you may see, the people joining the summer school, they have the opportunity to visit those kind of organizations. And then by receiving feedbacks and from the organization, from the lecturers, they come together and they make a poster or a PowerPoint presentation. And they have to debate with the local representative of the local community in relation to how to improve the quality of life. And those are some of the examples of what has been produced. For example, how to relocate people with disabilities into the community, how Janinga Child Developmental Center is doing that. Or, for example, how to engage persons with disabilities in the community. How could you really engage persons with disability where, for example, in Uganda, it's really hard, and maybe there's a lot of stigma. So maybe persons with disabilities are hiding or not really accepted, so they live at the margins of the community. Which way you can improve quality of life by inclusion, or participation of clients. Those are some financial aspects. Usually, the students are paying 700 euros and 750 and 700 euros are supported by HOGENT, University College. What is very important to know, if you want to go to Uganda, it's very important to have a vaccination against the yellow fever. You cannot enter the country without that. You have to submit for a visa if you want to arrive, if you want to visit Uganda. And HOGENT usually organize a flight from Brussels to Entebbe. There are direct flights, but there are different flights from different locations in Europe. But Brussels is one of the, Brussels and Amsterdam are the two places where you have direct flights flying to Uganda. And we organize, we organize also different flights with a stopover, depending if you're coming from the US, maybe we organize a stopover somewhere, and then we join together with our group, maybe in Brussels, or sometimes some people make a stopover in Dubai, or some other people are making, we meet together in Entebbe. What is interesting to know about the different kind of activities of Uganda is that the nature is great. There's very much possibilities to explore and to be involved in the nature that is really surrounding for Portugal and Entebbe, where you live. Via Via, it's the place that is hosting us for the first day. Usually when we arrive, we sleep the first day in Entebbe to have some rest and to get familiar with the place, because when we arrive, so it's a very new context. If you are not used to Africa, if you are not used to low-income country, so we would like to give a gentle door step, let's say first step into the culture. So we do it the first day in Entebbe. And then the second day, after exploring the surroundings of the hostel, we move in direction of Fort Porta. That's more than 300 kilometers, as we said. And we take a bus, and we drive for 6, more or less, 5, 6, 7 hours, depending on the road condition and on the traffic. And then we have selected specific hotels who are hosting us, and they are reliable hotels in town. One of them is the West End, and the other one is the Duchess. There are two very well-known hotels that have good conditions. And here we can see Emmanuel Chimera, the local organizer of from Mountains of the Moon University, who's welcoming us every time when we get in Fort Portal. And this is the view that you may have from the hotel and in the area. Transport in Fort Portal, usually you do it with mini buses if you are a few people, but usually the most common way to move around is the Boda Boda. It's a motorbike that works as a taxi, and more or less it can host from 1 to 3 people, depending on your budget, and it's going to take you to the destination. That's the common means of transportation in the area. Something nice to know, Boda Boda is named because when Uganda was a British colony, so local as white people are called by the locals, they used to take the motorbike from the border of Uganda to go to the border of Congo. And the motorbike, so they named it Boda Boda because that's border to border. That's the name that is used nowadays for the motorbike taxi. This is the transportation that we use when we are at the Mountains of the Moon University. The bus of the university is taking us together with their own students and lecturers to town, up to the campus. And it's always a pleasure, to be all together in the bus, and sometimes to receive a free African massage from the bumpy roads of Uganda. And here, as you may see, Uganda has really a lot to offer in terms of nature, parks, and safaris. This is part of the program, and in the weekend, usually we do those kinds of activities as trekking or game drives with students to the gyms or to the parks together with Ugandan students. So we always, and lecturers, we always work together in groups. Some of the reflections from our students, it has been very interesting to work and to get to know how is the local situation about HIV and AIDS from the very reliable and providing very good quality in terms of interventions and insight from the local partners. It has been very important to work together in groups and to learn specific topics that are interdisciplinary between the different professionals. And as you may see, so we work with different lecturers and we co-teach during our lectures, just to be sure to have, it's really a challenge sometimes, but we want to be sure that we are providing culturally meaningful information. This is something that is really the core of the kind of lecture that are provided during the summer school. And of course, having lunch together or being together in the bus, part of what makes constitutes the team and what makes the team together. Here during the safari to the Queen Elizabeth Park, so we stop at the equator to have a picture with 1 foot from one side and 1 foot from the other side of the world. And again, some of the pictures of our groups across the years and our group activities and our reflective practitioner session under a tree, for example, or in the classroom when it's allowed. And last day we have a farewell party where we celebrate all together the new projects and the experience of having been working together during the course. Some of the activities that we may see that we do the last day, so a lot of playing and also fun and visits are really part of the program. This is what you may see when you do a game drive in Elizabeth Park. Our last reflection from the students that I will let you read through. The most important aspect is about interculturality and taking the experience. And of course, if you would like to know more, you can click on the slides and you can listen to the song showing a little bit about how is everyday life in Kampala with Unforgettable. If you want to know more, also we have two websites and a Facebook page that you may access and you may click and to have more information. So thank you very much. I think this was, I hope I was able to give a little bit of background of what the summer school is, and if you have questions, we are here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. What a great presentation. I really, really enjoyed it. I have some questions if you don't mind, if we could take up your time a little bit more. I was wondering about the partners that you had suggested, the IASSIDD, I don't know how to pronounce that, and the BLIRU at the beginning of the presentation. Are they located in Uganda?
IASSIDD is the International Association of Scientific Study Intellectual Developmental Disabilities. And as far as I know, they have one representative working in Uganda, and his name is Patrick, and he joined us last year. So the second week, he was in charge to introduce the participants of the summer school into what is disability in Uganda. And
okay.
He is one of the members of IASSIDD and he lives there, but the organization is international. Yeah.
International, okay.
Yeah.
And then my other question was, when you're defining, I really loved the slide where you were all defining quality of life. Does the vulnerable groups that you work with, do they have any input in that as well? Are the ones that are running the centers or the individuals, do they offer any insight and input into what they define as quality of life?
Yeah. We try to do it in a different way. So what you saw in the slide, it was the process of the group for the attendees of the summer school. So actually, there were mostly students and lecturers from Mountains of the Moon University and other international students. But at the same way, when we are working with our partners, some of our partners are working using a quality of life perspective. So they use this paradigm and they implement it starting from the perspective of the client. So for example, there has been a project working with photo voices with children with HIV. And we try to use the photo voice to have the input about what is quality of life to them, and in which way they could take some picture, and we had the camera that were able to give us an insight from their everyday life. So we use different methods, but some of those organizations are good partners as Yawi and as also Chaninga, so they use the framework of quality of life.
And then do your students ever design their own, as you said, evidence-based interventions, or do they just come alongside the partners and sort of assist what they're already doing?
Usually they use as an insight what the partners are doing, and then try to get inspiration also from the clients, the person that are professionals that are going to meet when they are there. So we had important input, I think, from both sides. It's really interesting. You never end up learning when you are talking with the clients, when you are talking with the local professionals about something that may be really relevant in Belgium or in Italy, that it's something that is everyday practice or common practice for Portugal, Uganda, and vice versa. So it's really interesting to understand, okay, in which way you could strengthen the boundaries of the community, for example. That's something that you really get to learn from Uganda organization, or in which way you could import some intervention that they see as meaningful or for their organization. We had a lot of those experiences, and there are different projects running. Actually, we were able to finance different projects and to write together more than 3-4 projects in different areas, from agriculture to disability to HIV, social sustainability. So actually there are different projects that they were co-constructed over there.
So when they're at these centers, for example, the children with disabilities, the images that you showed, are your students coming alongside, and are they mostly observing and then they're sort of participating and assisting with pre-planned activities that are already being done? Or are they bringing new ideas and new activities? How does that work?
Yeah, usually the first meeting we have, our students or the participants in general have to listen and to learn from doing what is the context. So the main idea is getting to know in which way it works in the context, because the context is very different from what we are used to. So it's really getting to understand a little bit of the context, in which way they could make an analysis of the situation. And then during those 2 weeks, they come together and they work in their interdisciplinary groups, from having a feedback from lecturers, academics. But again, we have input more than one time from professionals and directors of those organizations. So during those 2 weeks, we may have inputs, and they're able also to generate new ideas for the center. And that's the scope that we would like to develop, and we would like to achieve by the end of the 2 weeks. So having new ideas and new inputs also, that should be sustainable in the end.
That's great. And then for how long have you been doing this, you yourself?
Yeah, this is the 4th time this year that we did that. Everything started actually more or less like 7 years ago, because the first 3 editions of the summer school, they were in Belgium, and we invited lecturers from Uganda together with other international students. And then we really had this great idea, say, okay, why don't we try to do it over there?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we went there. And I think, yeah, it's just great, because when you are really working in an environment that is totally different and is different culture, and you are there, so you are living and experiencing same life as the other participants. Yeah, your vision changes.
Sure. And are you working with the same centers every year, or
Yeah.
you add different, same?
The same center, because with those center, we work together also with internships with them, and we develop different projects, and those are reliable partners, and we know that we understand each other and providing amazing interventions for the local population. It's really outstanding, the work they do.
And have you personally seen improvement in quality of life over the course of the 4 years that you've been there?
I think so, yes. There has been improvement of quality of life for some of the clients, that you are able to see them across the years. And what you can see, especially also in Uganda, it's a nation that is a country that is developing, also in terms of economy. So there's more wealth in terms of material well-being and infrastructures. And so last year it was the first year where we had the tarmac road. It was almost finished, and that makes a big difference. Instead of having the last 70-80 kilometers or free African massage. It's challenging, but we really saw the improvement of some quality of life of some clients, but still for some persons its life may be challenging. It may really be challenging. Yeah,
certainly. Well, I think it was a fascinating presentation and a wonderful experience for students. I'm sure that you also take away, a lot from it. When they are done with the 2 weeks, do you have a semester-long follow-up, or is that it? And the outcomes I saw were really impressive. They write a presentation. What do they do beyond the 2 weeks?
Yeah, beyond the 2 weeks, we meet them again for a general feedback moment.
Okay.
And we have this meeting, and for some of them, we saw that they decided to come back for their internship place that happen every year, actually. And some others, they start to collect money, or they start to be involved in trying to have contact with how to support maybe some of the organizations over there. And that's more or less, that's it. But it was very good to start new collaborations. So also our partners, when they came there, they start to have maybe possibilities to connect with the local university to send students, or to have a stage internship over there, or to exchange lecture also or student for some period of times. Occasion also for networking.
Wonderful. Well, I think it's fabulous that you're doing this, and I definitely applaud your efforts, and hopefully ISQOLS can become more involved in the future in supporting all of you.
That would be great. It would be great to have an ISQOL local activity in Fort Portal. I'm sure Montes of the Moon University would be very proud of hosting that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I didn't see anyone jump on, but I'm sure that they will watch this because we've recorded it. And do you plan on coming to the conference, or will you be in Africa?
We are planning. I think we submitted an abstract with in Rotterdam. So probably we'll see each other in Rotterdam. The first 2 weeks, in August, we are going to Uganda, and then Rotterdam is on the schedule.
Wonderful.